We would like to greet you people in Singapore. You're on Economic Buzz. You can also watch this program via live streaming on okzone.tv. We are still talking about securing portfolio investment under the current market situation. We have Mr. Vicky Amarnani from Monex Investindo Futures. What should be done when the market is under panic, as you said, currently?
Yes, I mean, it's always difficult to catch a falling knife. I mean, for example, in the case of rupiah, people ask, is it going to go to 12,000, 15,000, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, of course, it's not always easy to predict where the level is, but to put it simply, yes, the reason for the Indonesian rupiah declining is for declining foreign reserves, export declining, import in fact rising, fall of commodity prices, high inflation. Interest rate is still 7%, whereas forecast for inflation is 9 to 9.8%. The declining stock market, investors fleeing out to safe haven, money getting diverted back into the US dollar, into the Eurozone is affecting the rupiah. But long term, do I see an Asian financial crisis situation like the 1997, 1998? No, I don't see, because unemployment rate is much better, FX reserves are still much healthier than before, banking regulations are much stronger and stricter at this point. We have strong growth of 5.8 to 6% forecast, which is still very healthy. And all these reasons are supportive for us maybe to face dips in the currency, but no major crisis. But if you ask me at this point of time, would I start buying the rupiah? No, I would wait for interest rates maybe to go higher, see where the rupiah stabilizes, because we haven't seen it stabilize yet. Where is the new equilibrium on the Indonesian rupiah?
So in a way, we have learned successfully from what we have already experienced earlier, back in 1998, when we talk about the Asian crisis. That's why several improvement has been made nowadays.
Correct.
That's why we are quite secure from that hit severely.
Severely hit, correct. I mean, we saw the Indonesian rupiah weaken from 2,400 rupiah to the dollar to 17,000. Yes, there was a spike and it came back down. But we are in this moment where I still see the Indonesian rupiah on a downtrend. I mean, if you see even from 2011 June, when Indonesia was improving, from 8,600, the rupiah has been declining from 8.6 to 9,000, 9.5, now approaching the 11,500 levels. So I still continue to see that trend. Maybe some intervention by the government may provide some support, but long term, in the medium term, I still see a deteriorating rupiah for the time being, but no major crisis.
Alongside with the other emerging market countries, related to the trade activity as well, when we talk about the deficit. When I'm asking you about this kind of deficit level, are we still in the tolerable stage, or?
Yes, I mean, if you want to think from a fundamental perspective, yes, I mean, current account deficits near the 3% target, which is still fairly healthy, not in a panic mode. The total debt to GDP is about 23.7%, which is still very healthy compared to European nations, which have gone over 100%, or even the US, for example. The US debt is now over 100% of GDP. So from those angles, that's why our debt is healthier, our FX reserves are better, growth is good. Indonesia has an investment grade rating that also supports it. So with those points, but looking at the market sentiment now, people have become more jittery, and I also like to see returns over the last few years. I mean, from the crisis of 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, investors have enjoyed good returns from all asset classes, properties, stocks, bonds. There's been really good years. So now I would suggest investors to be a little more cautious, keep a little more cash reserve, stick more to US dollars and have a more cautious approach. Doesn't mean you do not invest. If every time when there is a sell-off like this, the market always brings opportunities as well. But we have to do it tactfully and be very selective on our choices.
What other currencies, when we talk about this kind of rupiah depreciation, another part of Indonesia, do you have another country with the same downtrend currency like what we have, or what we can see from rupiah?
Yes, I mean, the perfect example would be the Indian rupees. I mean, Indian rupees over the last 2.5 years has depreciated from level of 45 to the US dollar, now trading at 65. So there's been a huge depreciation in the currency. And what is the reason? Declining deficit, slower growth, high inflation, and panic by markets, people pulling out cash from there. That's why now the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, has come up with solutions where state-owned oil companies will be supported by US dollars from their reserves. And they've also come up with a scheme, which they're planning to come up by the end of this month, a scheme where they will basically give high interest rates on US dollars. But you have to make sure that you secure your investment for 3 years. So for 3 years, you cannot touch your money. But for 3 years, if you invest into these Indian banks are offering rates of now about 4.5% per annual on the dollar, which is very attractive. So basically, governments have to have good reforms, attractive schemes for investors to put in cash, and that there's no panic or lack of US dollars in the market.
We're going to call you for the next segment.
Thank you.
Vicky. More on the discussion about securing portfolio investment under the current market situation will be brought to you soon. Stay with us on Economic Buzz.